Jungle Link here. Hope you're having a great day. You know, when the news originally broke that Ripple was shifting its focus solely to SME payments, I was covering a lot of different information. Why the old way didn't work. Was Ripple telling us everything? None of that stuff matters. The only question we should ask is this likely to succeed? And if so, is it beneficial for us, the XRP holder? I gotta tell you, after looking at this, I believe it's going to be absolutely massive, and it has a high likelihood of being successful. We have to remember, yes, the goal is all of the payments, but before we get all the payments, we have to get some of the payments. I said when on-demand liquidity was launched and they paired up with MoneyGram, all that matters is that it works and it proves the value of XRP once and for all. They have to be able to scale up and show this works, it's reliable, and it saves costs. I believe they're going to do exactly that. I'm going to start out by this report by Accenture. Now, if you don't know, there's only actually a couple major players in digital assets today. Accenture, Microsoft, IBM, SBI, there's a handful of them that are really investing in this infrastructure in a major way. Accenture is one of the top companies out there. They're also an investor in Ripple. They have the following: the journey to real-time cross-border commercial payments using distributed ledger technology. Quoting from the article, DLT has a long way to go before it's adopted for widespread mass use, but DLT is mature enough as a technology to begin commercial use. The time has now come for new networks to develop from it, in particular for cross-border and interbank commercial payments. So they're telling us, look, yeah, we're going to get all the money, but first we have to get some of the money, but it's ready for that. And that's what's important. Right now with digital assets, no one uses them for a practical purpose. They're just hodling coins. That's going to change in a hurry, and I think this is a major play that Ripple's doing. Continuing with the article. Ripple has chosen to focus on cross-border and interbank commercial payments for its distributed ledger technology. These types of payments are typically made across a network of corresponding banks without a central authority or clearing system. An ideal use case for DLT, and there is an opportunity to make significant improvements over existing arrangements with this technology. And so it's going through the high fees and, of course, the delays in payment and all of that. And it says the net result is that bank customers, mainly small and medium enterprises and corporates, experience delays, uncertainties, and high costs in managing their cross-border payments. Meanwhile, banks need to devote considerable headcount and effort to manage transactions and liquidity, respond to customer inquiries, track statuses, repair payment details, and investigate exceptions and errors. This is really a headache for the existing system. There's a lot of underserved markets that are absolutely massive, and Ripple can essentially go into these corridors uncontested and take that marketplace. I think this is huge. It very well may be that the existing players just didn't want to play along with our game. Well, that's fine. We're going to go into these areas uncontested, capture these markets, and on top of that liquidity and on top of that validation, we can build everything else. They're not going to have SME payments be the best in the world, leading class. Everything else will tumble in due time. Now, you may be asking yourself, all right, well, how big are these small and medium enterprise payments? Well, we go over here, another report from Ripple. We're looking at $10 to $15 trillion in cross-border payment flows, and the revenue opportunity from these markets for Ripple is $100 to $150 billion. And this is good for two reasons. First of all, if we capture those payment flows, we could add a couple $1 billion in XRP transactions throughout these corridors daily. That's massive. Right now within digital asset trading, you got, Bitcoin at about $12 billion in volume. You have Ethereum at about $7 billion and XRP and a few others hovering around $1 billion. But none of them have any utility volume. Remember, this is just a start. But if you add 2 to 2.5 billion in XRP volume daily, that's utility based, and then the speculation on top of that, that's the type of thing that will catapult you and help you capture that number one spot on top. And we know how advantageous that is for Bitcoin. It's slow, it's expensive, it doesn't have any of the advanced feature sets, but it has that household name from being the number one digital asset in the world. This is the type of utility that can catapult us right over Bitcoin. Beyond that, like I said, it's just a building block. It's not the end goal, and I believe they can capture this very quickly. That's what matters. They're going to go in uncontested and they can start stacking liquidity on top of liquidity. Pretty soon this thing will start rolling. Now when we look at the specific live corridors provided by Ripple, we can see the opportunity here. Argentina alone is $48 billion worth of SME flows. We have Australia, which is pretty small, surprisingly, being that it was an initial corridor for Ripple really to move in. They're only about $43 million in SME flows. But Brazil is massive, $137 billion. Look, they're going after that corridor. They're going to ramp it up. That's a big one. Now, as we scroll down, we see here with Europe. Europe has total SME flows of $1.7 trillion. A massive, massive area and a ton of volume we could add with these SME payment flows. Colombia's $28 billion. So you can see these are substantial corridors. They're areas that really Ripple could do a lot of damage. We see here with India, it's $287 billion worth of total SME flows. A hotspot for digital asset adoption. They have a big need in India. India has to get this right. And tomorrow I'm going to do a video covering this. And we see Ripple's put this out, the path for digital asset adoption in India. It's very important that they are engaging with regulators globally. Let them know why they need to adopt this technology, making sure that we're part of this future system as it rolls out. You have to ask yourself out there, what other digital asset project has the ability to do something like this, to possibly add $10 to $15 trillion in payment flows annually running through your digital asset? We got a good shot here with XRP. I know the price has been low. And you know, I was just watching a video today. One of my favorite YouTubers, he was talking about how he messed up with his stock investing. He was stating that his mistake wasn't selling earlier. He bought a bunch of Cheesecake Factory and Dave & Buster's. I'll tell you this, his mistake wasn't not taking profits. His mistake was investing in garbage to begin with. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're having closures left and right. You have the Cheesecake Factory that like 2 weeks in was saying, hey, we can't pay any of our rent. We can't pay any of this stuff. He was just investing in $1 stock price. He wasn't really looking behind that at the true metrics of value. I'm telling you right now, there's no way I would go out and buy a chain of Cheesecake Factories right now. Why would I buy their stock? What I'm getting at is this. We can focus too much sometimes on price action and what's really moving in the direction we want and what's exciting. And I think you have to look at that underlying value to make sure, you know what, if you hold it a little too long, you're not sitting with a bunch of junk. It's okay. Better times are ahead of us. I believe this with XRP. It has that underlying value. It's depressed. It is low, but it's never had a brighter future. And I think they got a good shot of launching this system, capturing that value, and being really the first digital asset to be used for a practical way commercially. We are winning this race. People just don't know it yet. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.